Hi everyone. This video is walk you guys through your second essay assignment, and in this very short unit, you guys read two sets of text from two different movements. So you read a text from the Enlightenment movement, and you also read text from the Romanticism movement. So what I want you to do is choose one of the works that you read in this unit to analyze in relation to the movement that it's associated with. So I'm going to repeat that because I want to make sure we're all doing this correctly. Make sure you are choosing one of the works that you read in this unit and analyze it in relation to the specific movement that it's from. So you want to clearly identify which movement, of course, that you're focusing on, whether it's the Enlightenment or Romanticism, and you're going to show how that author and that work exhibit specific elements or concepts from that movement. So for example, if you're looking at the Enlightenment movement, it could be, the value of the intellect or the intellectual. It could be, individualism. It could be, if you're looking at Romanticism, it could be the escape into nature. It could be, the encroaching industrialism and the refuge that you find in nature. There's a lot of different things that you could talk about. So this is broad because I want you guys to choose the movement and the work that you read that's most interesting to you. So if you really enjoyed the Romanticism movement and you love Poe, that's the one you should write about. If you really enjoyed, Phyllis Wheatley and the Enlightenment, that's one you write about. So make sure that you are clearly identifying these specific elements that are related to that movement for your audience. So don't just dive into the analysis. You want to first kind of foreground what is it about that movement specifically that you're going to be analyzing in relation to the text. And you can also think about how the text either does or does not fit with those specific elements. So for example, if you're reading say Judith Sargent Murray relative to the Enlightenment, you can show how her positionality as a female author underscores the fact that an entire marginalized group of people were not given the same rights as men, despite what's in the Declaration. So you do need to have at least one credible source to support your analysis. So this needs to be a published source from something like a .edu or PBS or something like that. As you know, Wikipedia, 123helpme.com, gradesaver.com, these are not credible sources that you should be using. So just make sure that you're using appropriate source material. And when you use your sources, what you want to do is integrate quotes from that source into your analysis to support your analysis, just as you use quotes from the text as evidence to support your analysis. So the source material should be supporting your arguments or your assertions about the text. You have a ton of different author choices that you could choose from. Again, it needs to be a work read in this unit. And it does need to be at least 2.5 pages, and it's due by Sunday, July 24th at 11:59 p.m. Everything's checked for plagiarism. Everything needs to be in MLA formatting, of course, and make sure that you are writing the minimum length. You will need to discuss those works in depth, of course, using secondarily your knowledge of the sort of historical situation or biographical elements around the author or the movement. Again, as I said in the first essay, that is secondary to the actual literary analysis itself. So you should be analyzing the work as a piece of literature. Do not let it become a biography essay. Do not let it become a history essay. However, you really can't divorce many of these people from the text themselves, right? The who they were is very important in what was being written. So someone like Judith Sargent Murray has a unique perspective as a female author. Someone like Phyllis Wheatley has a unique perspective, and that influences what she's writing and how she's writing to a particular audience. So think about that secondarily, but again, keep the focus on analyzing the text as a piece of literature. So make sure that you have good development of all of your ideas centered around these specific principles of the movement. Make sure that you're using the proper number of sources, so that's 1 at least. You will need to include a bibliography, so that should have at least 2 entries on it. It should have the text that you're analyzing, and it should have the outside source. And do note that when you cite a work, if you're citing a passage from the text, it needs to be cited as the author who wrote the text. not the editor of the textbook. So just keep that in mind. Good evidence to support your claims from both the primary and secondary sources, MLA, and then, of course, making sure you're using that scholarly language. So make sure that you're really using the terminology relative to those movements and even the genres that you're analyzing. So, for example, if you're analyzing a sort of primary document like Jefferson's, a declaration, the way you talk about it is going to be different than if you talk about a poem, which is going to be different if you talk about a short story. So make sure that you're using the language of those different genres as well. And then, of course, make sure you have a good developed essay structure, intro with a thesis claim, clear main ideas with lots of evidence and analysis, and a conclusion. So that is, like I said, it is purposely broad because I want you guys to choose the thing that's of most interest to you. If you have any questions, you can run anything by me, please feel free. But otherwise, go ahead and move on to your next assignment.